It is a Saturday afternoon in New Delhi, and the government is entering the final hour of a very tight window. At 3:30 p.m., top officials are scheduled to sit down with a group of student protesters. The pressure for this meeting comes directly from a rigid 24-hour ultimatum. In this image, you can see the face of that opposition, climate activist Sonam Wangchuk, sitting shoulder to shoulder with the Cockroach Janta Party, a youth political group that is refusing to back down. The protesters have built massive leverage over the past several weeks, and it has come at a severe physical cost. They have endured a 26-day hunger strike in the blistering heat, and key protest leaders are now actively battling typhoid. Before this meeting even began, the government had already authorized 1 crore rupees in compensation for the families of students who died by suicide during the crisis, and guaranteed that no police reports would be filed against those involved in the agitation. But the students refused to drop their final, non-negotiable demand. They wanted the immediate resignation of the country's education minister, and for days, the government fiercely resisted. With the clock running out on a weekend, and the students explicitly threatening to walk away from the table, a government unaccustomed to compromising found its defenses breaking down. To understand why the state was forced into this corner, we have to look at the sheer scale of the crisis. This photograph captures a massive crowd of youth demanding the disbanding of the National Testing Agency, or NTA. They represent over 2.2 million medical aspirants whose futures were paralyzed by paper leaks for the NEET entrance test. But the anger quickly spilled over the boundaries of a single test. As you can see in this image, young protesters are holding signs with the crossed-out letters of the CBSE board, responding to technical failures and a botched rollout of digital student portals. And the breakdown didn't stop there. Here, protesters are actively burning official documents in the streets, fighting back against sweeping changes introduced by the University Grants Commission, or UGC. The NEET leaks, the CBSE portal crashes, and the UGC controversies all happened in rapid succession. The grievance mutated from an isolated cheating scandal into a nationwide revolt against the government's basic competence. Exactly 1 hour before the scheduled 3:30 p.m. negotiation, the climax arrives. Dharmendra Pradhan, the education minister, takes to X and posts a resignation letter directed to the prime minister. Seen here addressing the press, Pradhan is not a low-level bureaucrat easily tossed aside. He is deeply embedded in the ruling party's DNA. He comes from the ABVP, the party's student wing, and previously served as the Minister of Petroleum. Inside the party, he is credited with engineering massive election victories in major states like Bihar and Haryana. Why sacrifice such a critical political asset right now? The answer lies in cold political calculation. The government was staring down 3 escalating threats that outweighed the minister's value. The first threat was legislative paralysis. The political opposition had latched onto the student protests, entirely jamming up Parliament and halting the government's ability to pass laws. The second threat was physical danger. The protests were no longer peaceful sit-ins in the capital. Violent clashes were already erupting in key areas of Bihar, like Patna and Chhapra. But the immediate catalyst was the weekend. If the 3:30 meeting failed, Sunday's planned mass mobilization and candlelight march threatened to swell the crowds far beyond local police control. The math dictated an immediate amputation. Severing the minister today was the only logical way to diffuse the weekend's explosive potential and protect the ruling party's standing with young voters. The government still needed to control the narrative. In his public letter, Pradhan frames his exit carefully, stating that he is stepping down out of a sense of duty to take responsibility for the nation's youth. He also embeds a warning. He writes that he is worried the protesters might be misled by antisocial forces if they continue their agitation on the streets. This language acts as a political shield. It allows the government to appear noble and accountable to the public without legally admitting to any fundamental, systemic guilt regarding the exams. The exit functions as a strategic PR maneuver to appease an angry voting bloc. It offers a head on a platter while carefully preserving the administration's image of authority. The immediate aftermath proves the tactic worked. What was supposed to be a weekend of escalating clashes transitioned into this, a peaceful nighttime candlelight gathering, signaling that the immediate tension had broken. For these grassroots organizers, the moment was a realization of power. A group of students, using little more than a hunger strike, had successfully shifted the trajectory of a major government ministry. But the opposition was quick to point out a loophole. As seen here at the microphone, leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi highlighted a severe caveat to the students' achievement. Pradhan submitted his resignation from his post as the education minister. That does not guarantee he is being removed from the government's cabinet entirely. The administration could simply accept the resignation, wait for the news cycle to move on, and quietly shuffle Pradhan to a different portfolio. The letter is currently sitting on a desk, and the final decision rests entirely with the Prime Minister, pictured here. Relentless protest can force a government to sacrifice a vital piece to save the board. But in the chess match of national politics, a resignation only matters if the piece is permanently removed from play.